Welcome along to the Tenacious podcast. I am your host, Ashley Bentley, and I am so excited about today's episode. This is episode 4 of the podcast, Zen and the Art of the Mind. And today's guest is none other than the man, the myth, the legend, the lovely Mr. Ashley Slater. We have an amazing conversation. We do a real deep dive into the arts, into politics, mental health, doing the dishes. Pretty much everything is covered today, and we had so much fun. I'm so glad he agreed to be on the podcast. I'd like to very quickly thank the sponsor of the podcast, Integrative Coaching, Breathwork, and Hypnotherapy. You can find all the details of how to get in touch at the bottom of the screen here. And if you'd like to be a sponsor of the podcast, feel free to get in touch. You can email tenaciousbpodcast@gmail.com. And now, please enjoy this amazing conversation with the lovely Mr. Ashley Slater. Enjoy. Welcome along to the Tenacious Bee podcast. I am your host, Ashley Bentley, and we are right in the middle of Zen and the Art of the Mind, where we are looking at the intersection of arts and mental health. And I'm not the only Ashley today. I am so excited by our guest today. Joining us on the podcast today is the very talented musician and singer, Ashley Slater.
Yeah, I like the way you differentiate between the two. So if I was a drummer, you'd have to say the very talented drummer and singer and musician.
Well, I've got
and
a whole
bass player.
I've got a whole bio to read out for you because it's really amazing what you've done over the years. So you've had quite an interesting career. You've left an indelible mark on the music industry with your unique blend of jazz, funk, and soul. You gained prominence as a member of the jazz orchestral collective, the Loose Tubes.
That's correct.
And your expressive playing has made you the bass and tenor trombonist of choice for luminaries like George Russell, Clara Bley, and Andy Shepard. Carla Bley, sorry.
Carla Bley, yeah.
Best known as the co-founder of the iconic acid jazz band Freak Power, alongside Mr. Norman Cook, a.k.a. Fatboy Slim. Ashley has captivated audiences around the world with his soulful vocals and mesmerizing trombone performances.
Absolutely true, all of that.
And beyond your work with Freak Power, you've also collaborated with a diverse array of artists such as Jules Holland and Massive Attack.
Don't know about Massive Attack. I'm not sure about that.
Right. The internet is a strange place for information.
This is where you find out where ChatGPT is a fantasist at heart. No, I haven't. I don't think I've ever done a gig with Jules, and I've never been on Later either. But
interesting.
Yeah, I know.
Well, this is actually a combination of using ChatGPT and Microsoft Copilot. So this is a little amalgamation of both.
Good. Well, it gives me faith in the fallibility of AI. So I think my career will last at least another 2 years.
There we go. Right. I didn't realize that you are the narrator of the television series Boo.
That is true.
Excellent. So you do a bit of voiceover work as well.
Hey, hi there. Hey, can you find Boo? Yeah, that's right. I remember that. That's going back a few years.
And I also didn't realize that you co-wrote the Grammy-nominated hit "Weapon of Choice."
That is also true.
I've
been sideways nominated for a couple of other Grammys as well. So
have you?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, we electro swing track. I did with a guy called Wolfgang Lohr and Hollywood. I guess I'd call her a kind of a starlet. That would be what they would call her in the 50s and 60s. Called what the hell is her name? Anyway, yeah, her. And I did some work with a Brazilian band called Jota Quest, which is I would kind of say like a Brazilian Red Hot Chili Peppers, very popular band. They've been going for 25 years. They're just celebrating 25 years, actually. And an album I worked on with them quite a long time ago was nominated for a Latin Grammy. So, and I've been Oscar nominated for a song.
Well,
So
shame on ChatGPT for not mentioning that.
it's rubbish.
I'm sure it's not. I'm sure it's not. Oh my good. Well, it also says that you are a dedicated advocate for social justice and environmental sustainability, using your platform to raise awareness and inspire positive change in the world. Would you agree with that?
That is absolutely true. I would not disagree with that at all. I'm a really, um, somebody asked me like, what's the one word that describes what I want most in the world, and my answer was equality.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? And I think, much like Bob Marley wanted to heal the world through music, I think, music is something that we can use across societies, across all sorts of different backgrounds.
I completely agree with that because, music, as we know, in fact, I just wrote a song about this for my new band, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
But it's the lyrics are music's only vibrations, atoms creating sensations. They're all bouncing off each other. It's all vibrating sound waves, baby.
Yes.
And we are also all oscillating wildly. Our little molecules are all going all the time. And to a very small being or thing, we don't even exist. It just passes through us like we're not even here. Um, like subatomic particles and all that. But yeah, I mean, certain pieces of music, if you played the Barber Adagio to anybody in the world, I'm convinced it would evoke an emotional response.
Yes. Yes.
Regardless of what your musical culture is, or it's just something so utterly essential. And that's the beauty and the mystery of it for me. That's what I love about it.
Absolutely. I was just watching a podcast. Do you ever listen or watch to the Huberman Lab podcast? Have you heard of it?
No, I have
Okay.
a saying about podcasts. Podcasts are like anuses. Everyone has one.
Well, I don't want to say welcome to my anus.
My own personal anus.
Well, this took a turn I was not expecting.
Oh no,
Yeah.
that'll happen.
But there, so the Huberman Lab podcast is all about it's the Stanford University neuroscientist Andrew Huberman who talks about neuroscience, and he has a
Mm-hmm.
whole episode on music and what it does to the brain and the body. And they've realized that in human history, music and dancing likely formed before we ever spoke any language.
Sure.
And music, and putting lyrics aside, but music itself can convey really nuanced emotions that language just can't do.
That
And
is well, and also it cuts deeper again for that same reason, that just vibrations,
yeah,
everything is vibrating.
yes,
And I mean, okay, our vibrations are on a larger scale than, little atoms and things like that whizzing around, but it's all the same principle.
yes,
I had a lot of discussions with George Russell about that. And we agreed, we just think it's a primal force.
yes, yes. It's inherent within us. So yeah,
That's
yeah.
what
And
makes that's what makes me kind of, sad. See, it's not just the UK, but I would say that the world K is a world leader, just like they wanted to be in the idea of culling the arts completely from society. I mean, that's the Tory agenda. I guess they don't really like anything that makes people think,
or makes
because
people
when you,
human,
I mean,
this is
oh God, a bunch of
basic.
weirdos. I
Yeah,
don't get, I do not understand that. And having played many, let's say, I'm going to say, go ahead and say they're probably Tory voters' weddings, because they're usually people who have a lot of money, and people who have a lot of money support the Tories because the Tories are all about not taking quite as much money from you as a more left-leaning political party might be. I just found them to be generally lacking in what we would refer to as soul.
Mm.
And I know, I mean, that's a sweeping generalization. I have, I'm sure, many Tory friends, but you know,
Yeah.
I don't understand the Tory desire to destroy creativity and replace it with something that earns money. And it's not someone, you're a thing. You're
Yeah.
just a thing that can make them money. That's it. That's your
Well,
only value.
it really it is such a shame when I see a defunding. And you're right, the arts is always the first thing that gets
Well,
defunded.
remember the immortal words of Dominic Cummings during the COVID: tell the ballerinas to get to the back of the queue. And that wasn't about ballerinas, that was about everyone involved in the arts.
Yeah.
And like I said, that's the prevailing attitude. And we only have to look at the state of music in UK schools. I mean, currently living in Germany, and it's way the hell different here, but it's heading that way. That there, the whole world is swinging to the right. Um,
Yeah,
as
it's sorry, go ahead.
well, the big, giant, huge, humongous issue confronting the world is going to be immigration. That's bigger than anything. I mean, and that's as a result of climate change, which of course is the overarching threat to humanity, if you want to be that bombastic about it. But when places start becoming uninhabitable, people are going to be looking to move to places that are habitable,
Yeah.
and that's going to involve billions of people migrating. So I think this, pull up the drawbridge approach to immigration, it's very short-sighted, and it
Yeah.
won't last. It just won't last, and there will be conflicts because of it.
Yes. And and if we want to try and be better thinkers, more creative thinkers, we need to embrace our creativity. When we have a creative endeavor, it makes us more creative in everything that we do.
Sure.
We really want to encourage that. And I mean, I was thinking about how in the span of human history, the amount of time that we have had recorded music, it's just the tiniest little dot. So if you think about it, up until the last, however many 100 to 200 years that we've had the capability to record music where you could listen to music
Yeah,
on demand. Before that, you had to make your own music. So
exactly,
most
exactly.
people learned how to play an instrument and learned how to sing.
Every house had a piano.
Yeah,
No, like, even, I can't say like the very poorest households, but you'll constantly see, let's say on Facebook Marketplace or eBay, oh, I've got this piano, I don't know what to do with
you
it.
can't give
Come
them
and take it
away.
away. I
Yeah,
know, I know, and everybody had that. You're right, absolutely right, Ashley. And
yeah,
now it's, in a way, there's a kind of return to that sort of thing, and that's happened over the past. Well, I was going to say 20, but really it's 30 plus years, and that's the ability for people to make music using computers at home.
yes,
But that, there was a great big old gap in between, like, let's say the Victorian era parlor, where we sat around and everybody could play a song and everybody would sing a song, um, to, kind of, after that, it became a specialist career to be
yeah,
a performer. Um, but the democratization of music production and the accessibility to those tools every Apple computer ships with a program called GarageBand, and you can put together something in there.
Yeah.
And for people who do that and say, "Oh, I like this," you can get quite far with that free program. And then the step up is a what they call a digital audio workstation. Like in my case, I use Apple's Logic. Well, that program contains £100,000 worth of equipment, and it costs $199.
Wow.
You know, and I mean, I have been making professionally releasable records with the absolute bare minimum of equipment because I did train as a musician. I
Yeah.
know what I want, and I know how to make those sounds and to make what I want happen,
Yeah.
in my speakers. Um, so, there's a little, in a way, is a kind of a return to that thing.
That's a very good point. That is a very good point. And and whilst we have the sort of the death of buying and listening to an entire album happening,
Mm.
we also by the same token we're able to we're exposed to much more different types of music out there. It's not good for the artists though, with things like Spotify and not compensating artists as they should, and and
Well,
and and other
they sort of
aspects.
they sort of can't. I mean, Spotify's still losing money hand over fist. I mean,
Yeah.
I suppose taking an office block in Manhattan, which costs you $120 million a year to rent, um, is a bit of a slap in the face for musicians. And Spotify, bizarrely, although they get the most shit, sorry, I don't know if I can say shit because
Yeah,
this is,
absolutely, go for it. Yeah.
but they do get the most shit. But actually, they are one of the better paying streaming services. If you really want to find a bad man, go to Google and YouTube. Their
Mm,
rates are disgusting, but you
yeah.
have the possibility on YouTube of creating a channel that becomes popular, and then you do earn money from that. And
Yeah.
some people have earned a great deal of money from that, and that's good. But this whole, I mean, I have my own personal theory about what the future of music for, I'm going to be a little arrogant and say proper musicians is, and that is, and my example I use is, it's very hard to find a Cooper these days if you want a barrel made. If you want your own pair of shoes, it's hard to find a cobbler, but it's not impossible.
Yeah.
So the problem is that artists have had this arrogant idea that what we create is somehow immune to the march of progress, but it's not,
Mm,
and it was never going to be. It was only a matter of time before they came up with the idea of an artificial intelligence that could generate music by basically by stealing everybody else's ideas. And some people are up in arms about that, but I say to those people, you also have stolen ideas from the very first song you wrote to the last song you wrote.
yeah.
That's how it works. you know
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
are all we are all influenced by everything we've ever heard, whether we're conscious of it or not. It's all lodged in there somewhere, and
Absolutely.
we unearth it. I mean, even with my new band, I'm putting quotes in all the time. 1 bar, 2 bars of a horn part from an Earth, Wind and Fire record that I really liked, stuff like that. It's a natural process. So the people are saying, "Oh, AI is scraping all of our ideas." Well, that's what we did. So shut up.
That's such a good point. I had a previous guest on who was a singer-songwriter, and I said, "Gosh, do you ever find that you're writing a tune and then you think, hold on a second, this is something I've already heard before?" And he said, "Well, if you don't hear your influences coming out in your work, then something's not right. You're gonna,
Exactly.
yeah,
To finish my point, regarding cobblers and coopers.
yes,
Um, I think in the future we'll see a return to something like the patronage idea, and that is there are enough egotistical rich people out there who will say, yeah, but I mean, I need special music just for me because I'm special. And they will come to a special person like me who can make that happen. So we have a few years left, and you know, it's not what we all maybe imagine for ourselves, but there will be some of us who continue to make a living solely from music. I mean, I do. It's a terrible living, but I've adjusted my life so that I don't need a lot of money. Um, so I never really got addicted to the stuff, which is good for me. Um, I'm super happy. I mean, to be honest with you, Ashley, I've never been happier in my life. I'm in control of my musical skills to a very, very high level. Um, I'm in a place where I'm not having to worry about money, but not because I've got shit tons of money, just because it's fucking cheap to live where I live. I could not move back to the UK and live there.
Yeah.
There's no way. You
Yeah.
cannot live in the UK for less than £2,000 a month. It's impossible.
Yeah.
And here I'm living for a hell of a lot less than that.
Wow.
And I'm in a great, happy relationship with a really supportive woman who doesn't want anything from me except love and respect, not fame, not money. And that has really actually opens the floodgates for me. I know I don't have much time left. If I'm lucky, I've maybe got 20 years of something resembling productivity. Um, but I feel like I'm in this situation where I'm going to be able to exploit those 20 years to their fullest extent. And
Amazing.
that's a very nice feeling.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
you know, and what's happening now is stuff I'm doing because I want to do it, not because I think it will sell or I think it's, you know, good for my career. Um, it just sounds fucking great because it's me being me. I hope that doesn't sound um, uh, pretentious or,
No,
you
not
know,
at
big,
all.
not big headed. I hate using that word, but it's not. I know who I am. I know what I can do. So, you know, getting older, there are benefits.
I totally, yeah, yeah, I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. And I'm so glad that that the conversation is headed this way because, a big part of this series that I'm doing of arts and mental health, on the one hand, it's there to inspire people that may not have a creative outlet to start one, but it's also, I think, even more important for the artists out there who are struggling with their mental health
Mm.
and to hear about other artists, to hear about other artists' stories and up until now, everybody that I've had on has been an artist that has another job,
Right,
so they're not making their living through their art. And I thought it was really important to talk to you about, the pluses, the minuses, the pitfalls, and everything that your journey, because I know there's got to be a difficult part. First off, the creative process doesn't work well when there's lots of deadlines and
yeah.
stress
Well,
involved.
it can, but you have to approach that differently.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, there's a saying, a thing somebody said to me once: inspiration is for amateurs. Meaning,
I
you
like
know, like sometimes you don't have time to sit around waiting for Jesus to send you a melody. Do you know what I mean? You just got to get out there and start digging.
Yeah,
And I like that. I like
yeah,
that challenge. You know, and I can work either way. You know, I can sit around and wait for you know, marijuana to send me a melody. I don't smoke in the day, by the way. I just have a little joint at the end of the night with my partner. And 9 times out of 10, I get an idea for a tune, quickly sing it into my phone, come back the next morning, that's got something.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
you know, there's a there's a place for there's a place for that in a
yeah,
creative, you know,
yeah.
world.
And you've really,
If you want to go there, because all it
yes,
does is turn off some things, turns off some extensions on your brain, so you can your core kind of, I think, can come out at that point, and that maybe that's why that works for
Yeah.
some people. Mm.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think also the fact that you've really diversified, you've done so many different things, and even, not just in different eras in your life, but even at the same time, you're doing,
Yeah,
vastly different types of projects. So
yeah. Well, that's always been my thing. It's basically, if you can fit a me in there, I'm in. Whatever it is I do, but if it's singing or producing or playing brass or arranging or whatever. I mean, I have to say now I am fearless, and I'll take anything on, mate. You want me to write a symphony? Let's go. I'll have a go at it. I'm not saying it'll be great or even good, but I'll put my heart and soul into it, and you will get something at the end, which you'll be able to listen to it and probably not vomit.
well, this is what I love. I mean, this is, I first got to know you when when I had my radio show and I interviewed you. I think that was probably like 8 or 9 years ago, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah,
That was Kitten in the Hip era, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah, I think
It's really
so.
it's very interesting to me because I didn't. I have had reason because I've been being interviewed a lot for the launch of this new band. I did a really extensive podcast when I was in Prague with a guy called Rob Cass, and I did think because for me, I think I haven't done anything. Do you know what I mean? Because when you're in the middle of it, you're just a dot in a bunch of whole other dots,
Yeah.
and I don't think I'm anything special. Um, I often joke that the only thing you have to do to be a legend in the music business is not die before you're 55, um, and still be doing music. So in that case, yeah, I'm a legend. Um, but I have done a lot of things. You're right.
Yeah,
You
you
know,
have.
and it's great that I have, and it's also kind of great that I don't think I've done anything because that makes me keep wanting to do stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just what I was gonna say. It's obvious that your tenacity is just, you are definitely not lacking in that. You are open to new projects, new ideas, and you're ready to just dive deep into whatever you're doing. And I think
Exactly.
that is probably, uh, I think that's probably a very unique thing for an artist, because artists are known for being, quite self-critical and not always
Yeah, I mean,
open
when
to trying new things.
100%, 100%, when we get to talking about the way your mental health can affect your career, if you like. I mean, the thing we all, I'm sure, all deal with all the time is imposter syndrome. I'm not good enough for this. I'm not good enough for that. But that's a big thing. But yeah, the one piece of advice I would give to anybody is keep fucking showing up, keep
Yeah,
doing it.
yeah,
Because I mean, I haven't had any, apart from Freak Power, which was, in the world of music success, quite minor. Um, I still think of myself as a successful musician because I guess I'm still making music. That's
yeah,
success to me. I haven't given up. But yeah, tenacity is probably the most useful tool for any creator.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I I mean, I've had the worst lows. Again, I describe certainly my this. I mean, life is a bit like this, but the music business, I think, is even more. And it's mostly, swimming through the trough of a wave, and then every once in a while you get to go on the crest of a wave that comes along. But
yes,
it's rare. It's not constant. And I mean, it also, musicians, another way I describe our life is that we are swimming upstream all the time,
yeah,
like a salmon. And
yeah.
there's a lot of bears out there just waiting to scoop you out of the river and eat you. But yeah, it's totally an uphill struggle, and you do have to have tremendous reserves of fortitude, and I guess some self-belief, which kind of doesn't really tally with the imposter syndrome thing. But
Well,
again, if you ask me what I do, I say I'm a musician. And if you say, well, but who are you? The answer is the same. I'm a musician.
yeah,
That's who I am, you
yes,
know. And I've always managed to earn just enough to make me keep thinking, because it is a lottery. You just don't know. I mean, anything I've written could be synced in a TV show tomorrow, and that would be a nice chunk of cash. It's the you got to be in it to win it thing. You have to make your music. You have to publish it so that people can hear it. You can make your art for yourself if that's what you want to do. That's not what I want to do. I want to make my art for everybody who wants to hear it.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, so
yeah. That's amazing. It's amazing. So what do you do to look after your self-care? So you've got the tenacity aspect of things going.
mm.
What about, so we got the tenacious B. What about the B side? How do you look after your well-being? And I'm sure music is involved in that as well.
Well, you know what, Ashley, I haven't really. I'm not convinced that I have looked after my well-being all the time. I mean, there's definitely been times when I've been a very horrible person to be around, I'm sure, um, because I'm struggling, you know. Um, again, it's not really until very recently, and my partner Maria, who is an adult, super pragmatic. She's Spanish. She's a real hero to me, and I don't have many heroes. But whenever I'm like, oh, she says, "Look, you can't do anything about that, so stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
You can do something about that, so do something about it." I mean, which is my own, has always been my own philosophy, but I've never actually been able to make it a reality. But having another person around me who thinks the same,
Yes.
um, has been a real blessing, a
Yeah.
real blessing. It's something frankly, I never expected. I never demanded. I didn't ever think it would happen. But now that it has, um, it's it's made me a much happier and I hope a nicer person to be around all the time. And yeah, I'm just able to get on with what I need to get on with instead of dealing with a million problems that other people, obstacles that other people and their wants and desires are putting in my way.
Yeah.
If I can
Yeah.
say that, does that sound horrible?
No,
Um,
no, not at all. I mean, life is difficult, and
it is
it's
difficult.
complex and chaotic, and you're just and everybody, most people, the majority of people are doing the best. They think they're doing the right thing. They think they're doing their best.
Of course they are. Yeah.
And but but a lot of times another person's best can be just completely annoying or not helpful to us. So it's so beautiful to find a partner in life to walk alongside you that
Mm,
is on your wavelength and is a good mirror, a good reminder of all the things that you already know, but
yeah.
that in a moment of challenge, we can forget some of those things, and when we have somebody
Absolutely. Yeah.
remind us.
Absolutely. Yeah. You can. When I mean, there's an issue with uh, creativity, and that is, I think, to be a good creator, and I don't really mean like creator in the current sense of the word, but somebody who is a creator, somebody who creates. tangible stuff. I forgot what I was going to say there. You need, no, I don't know, forget it. I'm not even stoned, by the way. I'm just old.
No, it's all good. It's
Oh.
all good. It will, no doubt it'll come to you at 3 in the morning tonight as you wake up. Ah, that was it. That was
And
it.
that's what I was going to say. It was really, that was the nugget. But oh no, yeah, that's it. We need to be emotional, but emotional people are not really that good people, because they have an emotional response to things before they have a kind of sensible, measured response to things. So it's the double-edged sword there, that the fact that you are pretty, you have to be in touch with your emotions,
Yep. Yep.
but that is not a useful tool for coping with real life. And
Yeah.
that's kind of the big struggle, if you like, with an artist.
Yeah, and with anything, there's a quote, and I don't know if it was a Ram Dass quote. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Ram Dass, but
Yeah.
the he said the goal in life is to be more deeply aware, but at the same time less attached. So it
Something like that. Yeah.
yeah, we
Yeah.
want it is very important to not just stuff our feelings down, because we know that they will come up in some other way that's usually most unpleasant. So
Indeed. Yeah.
we do need to move through our feelings, but we want to get to a place where we're responding rather than reacting. And I there's something
And
that's known.
that's definitely still a character flaw of mine. Like, Maria can say something, and I instantly go into defense mode.
Yeah.
Now, I know that that's learned behavior from coping with previous relationships that weren't so successful.
Yes.
So, my thing is how to learn how not to do that. And I feel sorry for her, because she's, we have this thing. Every 3 months, I have to tell you the same thing. Please don't get, and it's like, oh, you poor thing, Maria. Of course, my love, you're absolutely right.
Hey,
But
it's
she's
all
hanging in there.
here we go. It's all a process, and you clearly are interested and ready and open to these sort of things are a skill. And you're right. These behavior patterns are very deeply ingrained. So trying to get out of them, it takes time, focus, and energy, and a lot of
And effort.
self-compassion
Yeah,
and
yeah.
curiosity and yeah. So actually, the more often this is one of the big reasons why things like meditation and mindfulness are so important, because they help to teach us and show us where that space between stimulus and response. The more
Mm,
often we
yeah.
find that space, the bigger that space gets, and the more we're able to take a
Control our
moment.
responses. And yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
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 that's a good point, actually. Good point.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm constantly banging the drum about meditation and mindfulness, and a lot of people are, but and a lot of people, I think there's a lot of misconceptions as well, that meditation is just about emptying your mind, and it's like that. We're not Buddha.
Most people I know don't have to work on that. Your mind is empty, man. I mean, I know what you mean, and I grew up in California, in the 60s and 70s, and it was very interesting, because where I live, it was Northern California, and we had, it was a very, very small town, 300 people, kind of 18 miles inland from the Pacific Ocean. So everybody knew everybody. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? That was real. And it was nice.
yeah,
In a community, and that's the thing. I mean, just a sidebar here, but community is what could save us.
yes,
And it's definitely what is missing in
yes,
modern life. And I think, and a lot of people bang on about the bad sides of social media, but personally, I don't I don't experience much of that, because I mean, I'm very opinionated on particularly my Facebook page, and I have things to say about politics and policies, but I rarely get negative, attacked for my views. And when I do, I'll defend them without being an a-hole. Um, and, and of course, I know I'm, preaching to the converted for the most part. People who follow me because they want to follow me and they're interested in what I'm doing and what I have to say.
Yeah.
So I know it's an echo chamber. But for me, I love social media. I
Yeah.
really do. I think without the divisive factor, without the Trumple fucks, as one of the guys I watch from TikTok calls them, without those idiot Republicans who really are turkeys voting for Christmas. And we have the same in the UK. And that whole right wing movement, it depends on ignorance and stupidity, and inability to think critically, to examine things, to question plausibilities. This bridge that went down in Baltimore. Oh, look, yeah, there's a big, yeah, see that? There's a big explode. No, that's not an explosion, mate. That's a power line being severed and
Yeah.
shooting out a bunch of sparks. There was no bomb.
Yeah.
Just a boat ran into the fucking bridge, which was poorly constructed because America doesn't take infrastructure seriously anymore, and it hasn't done for God knows how many years. That's why the bridge fell down. If
Yeah.
you run, run something that's a quarter of a mile long into a bridge, and it's really heavy, it's probably going to fall over.
Yeah.
In the end, there are conspiracies, but they're in plain sight.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a billionaire cabal ruling the world, and it's highly likely that some of them are pedophiles because they're so depraved and they can have so much that the only things they want are things that they're not supposed to have now. Yeah, I've got 3 yachts. I've done this. I've got that. I've got 20 houses. I've got fucking zillions of pounds. What next?
Well, this is it. There is as long as what we're looking for, if we're looking for satisfaction outside of ourselves, we're always going to, it's never going to be enough. There was a great George Carlin joke that said, trying to make yourself happy by accumulating things is like trying to solve hunger by taping sandwiches all over your body.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, I had a partner who was like, oh, yeah, very, yeah, quite a disturbed woman, really. And she was convinced that if she got famous, she'd be happy. And I would always saying to her, no, if you're happy, you might get famous.
Yeah,
It,
yeah,
it's kind of, I mean, I know that when I do a gig, people they like my vibe because I don't think I'm any better than anyone in that audience. Do you
yeah,
know what I mean? As
yeah,
far as I'm concerned, we're all in the band tonight.
yeah,
Because without you, this is just a rehearsal. So,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah.
um,
You're bringing you to the table, and that's what you should bring to the table. You're not bringing some sort of, pretend
no, I
thing
mean,
that isn't you.
exactly. I used to say, and I used to teach performance, and I used to say, look, you on stage should be the bits of you that work best on stage and leave the rest of it in the dressing room.
Yes.
Um, and it is a bit like that. But I think as I've got older, maybe I believe that less. I think that can work for a younger performer because it's a fucking good idea, isn't it? Or
Sure.
not. We all know about, uh, you know, tragic performers who blah, 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 but they always end up killing themselves.
Yeah.
That's not a good career. Well, it is a good career move if you're a record label, but for you, that is not a good career move. Being
No,
dead, you're not going to make any more music or art or anything when you're dead.
no.
So don't be dead.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
You know, I mean, for me, I'm as happy on stage as I am anywhere.
Yeah.
It's just another place where I am, where I can be,
Yeah.
you know. Um,
Absolutely.
and I know that people find me warm and entertaining and funny in any language. I can go to any country and they get the vibe. You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah.
we may not speak the same language, but I'm smiling and I'm laughing and I'm with my
Yes.
guides. You know, my bands are always important to me, just as important as me.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've known artists who I got fired from a band once because I danced on stage, and they were like, "People are looking at you, not at blah blah."
Oh,
For God's sake! All right,
how
well,
dare you
fuck.
move your body
But
to the music? Oh my God.
yeah, but well, fuck you, mate. I mean, I don't even want to be in your shitty band. Okay, it pays money, but uh, you can't pay me enough money to not do to not be me.
Yes.
There is no.
Yes. Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I don't know if that means I have a massive uncontrolled ego or what, but I mean, you know, obviously ego is an important part of performance.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
And and putting on a show and entertaining. Entertaining is one thing, but it's going to be and you can be yourself while still modeling um someone else or the whole technique of modeling behavior is
mm,
people who do public speaking. It's like who do you admire? Who do you really resonate with? Well, model a bit of what they do,
yeah,
but make it yours.
yeah,
So
exactly.
a bit like the music, I suppose,
Yeah.
get inspiration and make it your own. So you're still being you, but you feel as if you've got a bit of an extra oomph.
Well, if you have a you to start with, and that helps. I mean, I don't, you know, for genetic reasons, I think, I mean, I've got kids and, you know, that whole nature or nurture argument was instantly, oh, nature. There's a bit of nurture, but it's nature. You
Yeah.
know, your genes are who you are.
Yes.
And you can modify behaviors and you can learn behaviors and you can learn coping strategies and all that shit. But you are a product of your mother and father. The end. Yes, of course, there are things that are going to happen to you that may be traumatizing or the opposite of traumatizing. What is the opposite of traumatizing? Um,
Empowering, I
yeah,
suppose.
yeah, I suppose, yeah. Um, and it's how you deal with all of those things that makes you who you are.
Yes,
It's
yes.
not the things, it's what you make of those things.
Yes, yes. And we know now, I mean, for the longest time, science thought that, once you reached adulthood, once your frontal lobe was formed, age 25, there's really not much changing you. But we do know that that's not the case. It does take a lot of work, but we do our the neuroplasticity is there to make significant changes, even,
Yeah,
well into people's, 70s and 80s. I've
yeah.
seen it happen, and it's
Well, we've all seen people in their 70s and 80s who are horrible shits. And the thing is, they were probably horrible shits their whole lives.
yes.
But what's happened is the filter is broken now, so they're just horrible shits.
Yes.
Um, but I mean, the opposite must also happen. You know, where people who have maybe been a bit difficult to deal with have done work, have decided to make changes, have said, I don't like who I am. I
Yeah.
don't like how I make people feel. You know, I want to, and I've done that. I know, I mean, I have a very quick tongue, kind of what they might call razor sharp wit, babes. And I undoubtedly have said things in the past really quickly that when I look at them, I think, ooh, I shouldn't have said that. That probably really hurt that poor person. So, you know, I'm a lot less likely to do that kind of thing these days. And yeah, I'm definitely, I feel like I am a better person now than I've ever been. And that's not a bad feeling.
Absolutely. If we make a goal, I think it was the Atomic Habits book that said, if you just make a goal to be 1% better today than you were yesterday,
Yeah.
and you just keep doing that,
Yeah.
then you're just going to be, in just a year, you're going to be almost,
A
just.
saint? No, unless you're in absolute shit to start with.
Yes, exactly. Right. It is time for the pickle of destiny.
Okay.
So the pickle of destiny is a random question sent in, a generic question from a listener. So today's pickle of destiny is, what is one piece of advice that you received that's helped you more than any other and helped shape who you are today?
I don't know if I've ever received this advice. I probably have, but it's a little like something like don't sweat the small stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, there is small stuff in life you do have to sweat. I'm talking about bureaucratic, administrative things like that. And I've been very bad at that in my life. Uh, I don't think I'm ever going to get much better because I don't really have a desire to. It's not important to me. But there is so much that if you just fucking ignore it or let go of it, your life is just going to be a lot easier.
Yes.
You know, I
Yes.
don't care what people think about me. I really don't, and I haven't done for a long time. Because why?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you don't like me, stay away from me.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I mean, I've been here in this town in Germany now for a year. I have a solid group of really, really super wonderful people around me.
That's wonderful.
And the same in the Czech Republic. Well, that tells me something about myself. It tells me that good people want to be around me.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and that can only mean that I'm a good person,
Yeah.
right? Sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. We do have to be very careful of the company we keep, and they will influence us, and they also are a very good indication of where we are.
Yeah.
If we look
Well,
around.
if you're an asshole, you're not going to be surrounded by a bunch of nice people. You're going to be surrounded
No,
by assholes.
exactly,
The end.
exactly. Now, so before we get to cultivating the witness, I would love for you to fill us in on your new band. What is the latest and greatest? Let's hear all
Okay.
about it.
So I always think, oh, I haven't done anything since Freak Power. And then I think, oh, yeah, I had Big Lambs and I had Kitten in the Hip.
And you had
And
a resurgence of freak power, didn't you? Like a couple years
well,
ago.
kind of. I mean, it's funny. Somebody offered me a gig, a Freak Power gig the other day. I said, well, I'm kind of concentrating on Heptet now. And some of the, if you've got any pedantic little shits who listen to this show, Heptet is a six-piece band. And I've had people going, oh, what's the seventh? Who's the seventh person? And I've said, the seventh person is music. But
Ah,
I actually called it Heptet because I was the hip and Kitten in the Hip. And hep is a kind of jazz word for hip.
yes,
So
yes,
it's basically the hip tet, but I
yes.
didn't want to call it the hip tet, so I called it the hip tet because it's a
I
bit
love
more
it.
jazz. It's a bit more jazz, and we have a bit more of a, my what I wanted to do was there were a lot of those, and there still are. There's loads of them knocking about. Nigel Price in the UK has a terrific organ trio, which traditionally consists of organ, guitar, and drums, and that's Hammond organ. Hammond organ is a behemoth of an instrument. It's
Yeah.
infinitely expressive. It's just a big. I want to think of myself on trombone and vocals. Probably, I consider myself a preacher, and a shouter, and I am very much the caller who expects the response, and I take that attitude in my trombone and my singing and maybe everything. Um, and I met a guy in the Czech Republic, which is he's Prague's only 100 miles from where I am. So I met this guy like 20 years ago. And we did, no, it wasn't quite that long, maybe 13, actually. I'm thinking of another guy. And he's a very calm, very sweet,
Nice.
very zen. You're drawn to him because he seems to be,
Yeah.
I mean, he isn't, but that's what who is, who
Yeah.
is. Underneath is like fucking thousands of rats running around with, you know, he's pretty chill and therefore attractive. And he's also happens to be an absolutely great player. So I was in Prague just on a little holiday, and I had my trombone, and I sat in. He said to me yesterday, well, what happened was we were starting a gig. You came in, sat down, got your trombone out, did the whole gig with us without any rehearsal or anything, but just like you were part of the band. And we just became friends.
Amazing.
I do that sort of thing. I insert myself. I'm an inserter. And I really liked him, and we stayed in touch on social media over the years. And now I'm over here, and I'm just down the road. And I have some friends in a very famous Czech band called Monkey Business, and it's kind of like maybe the Jamiroquai of the Czech Republic. They've been going a long time.
Right.
Have a huge following. They work their balls off. They work really hard. And Matt, the singer, and Roman Holy is their producer. They're really great friends of mine and really terrific people. And it's nice, because like Matt and I have political arguments all the time, but we're still absolutely the best friends.
Yes.
That doesn't threaten anything. But this is what I think. And he goes, oh, this is what I think. And then I say, well, have you thought about this? And he says, have you thought about that? This is all good.
This is the discourse that we should be having in the world.
I
Yes.
know. But
Yes.
the problem is actually that if your IQ is under 80 or in the very low 80s, you can't understand abstract concepts. There's a lot of stuff that you just don't get.
Yeah.
It doesn't, it's not, it's just no.
Yeah.
And there are many, many millions of people with an IQ in that range. And that is, I hope I don't sound like a eugenicist or something, because I'm not advocating for their extinction. But that's the problem. And the people like Trump know Trump is a school bully. Boris Johnson's a school bully. They're bullies. They're bullies. They have always been bullies. They might have a charming veneer, but they're fucking bullies.
Yeah.
And stupid people like bullies because bullies will try to make smart people look and feel stupid. But because they're like in the 95 IQ range, do you know what I mean? They're just a little more than the stupid people.
Yeah.
Put them in a room with some actual smart people and they're fucked.
Yeah.
So that's where we are. I mean, the populism thing, it's real, and it's because there's just a lot of stupid people around, and there are decisions being made by people in power to widen that gap, to keep those stupid people stupid, because they're malleable. They'll believe any old shit. I mean, God, who would vote for Trump when you analyze the guy's character and what he's done, what he's been convicted of? What sort of person? What kind of fucking person would vote for that guy? An angry, stupid person. That's it. And there are a lot of them around. And I know I don't go on my page and say, hey, you're fucking stupid because you don't understand this. They're just stupid. We need to address that.
Yeah. Yes, there is.
Belittling those people, we need to say, look, let's explain this so you can understand it. And then maybe you'll, not in a patronizing way.
Yeah.
But smart people need to figure out how to educate stupid people. and not have a problem with that.
Yeah, I think there's been a dumbing down of society for a very long time, and it's been growing and growing and growing,
Yeah.
and yeah, and it's not helpful. The one thing that has been the one bright spark that I've seen is the, these long free form discussions on various different podcasts where, you can actually hear people, have an intelligent conversation and discuss nuance and
And have ideas.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. So hopefully if we keep spreading our messages of, trying to and believing in people and not, believing that you don't have to dumb everything down, that people might actually be a bit smarter than we're giving them credit for.
Make them rise. I'll tell
Yeah,
you
yeah.
from experience. Okay, right now in my new band, Heptet, which we were
Yes.
talking about,
Yes.
um, I've got one guy in that band who is a friend of mine from Ukraine who he left. He lived in Odessa. Obviously, when Putin invaded, you had a choice: go and fight and probably be killed, or leave. And I do not judge this guy because I don't know what I would have done.
Yeah.
I can't judge him because I can't put myself in that situation and be honest about what decision I would make.
Yeah.
Anyway, he ran a show band for years and he did covers and he played a little bit of saxophone and he plays percussion and he plays keyboards and he does everything to a standard, the standard that's required to play in a covers band that's there for party.
Right.
Not that high.
Yeah. Yeah.
Spoiler alert. And I've got him in my band, and there's some fucking heavyweights in that band, um, myself included. I'm going to say I'm a heavyweight, and I'm going to say that the trumpet player Nick is a heavyweight, and the drummer's a heavyweight, and Dan's a heavyweight. Um, and he's feeling he's not up to the job, and I'm saying, mate, you are up to the job,
Yeah.
and if you want to get better, you got to play with people who are better than you. Not That's the only way you can do it. So your ass is getting kicked every fucking night.
Yeah.
And you go back to your room and you're like, you don't have to sit there practicing like a knob, but you do have to, you can do a lot to improve your playing and your musicianship just by thinking about it.
Yes.
A
Yeah.
lot,
Yeah.
really a lot, a surprising amount.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, you
Yeah.
know, and so that's, my thing is I've got him by the balls and I'm dragging him with me and he's coming with me and he's going to stand up there one night and think he's the king of the fucking stage. That is going to happen.
Absolutely. I love
Um,
it. I love
you
it.
know,
I love that. That's what a brilliant thing to do.
mm,
Because you're right, mentoring others, not only are you helping him, but it's a really lovely thing for you as well. It's a really beautiful thing to show to somebody
mm,
what you know that they're capable of. And
yeah,
yeah, that's fantastic. That's amazing.
yeah.
So what is the latest for, do you have an album coming out? Are you on tour?
We are. We had our two premiere gigs on Monday and Tuesday, and they absolutely kicked ass. And I did a fuck ton of preparation for this, which is not my normal. That's not my default position. My default position is, come on, we know how to do this. Come on, let's just do it.
Yeah.
This time I was like, no, I'm writing parts. I'm doing arrangements. I'm writing songs in the keys that I can comfortably sing them in so that my voice isn't ragged out by the end of the night.
Yes.
And blow me, it fucking works. Who knew? So, the old fail to prepare to fail. It's real. That's a real one. Take
Yes.
that one, kids.
That is
Um,
a great one.
yeah, it totally is. That's
Yeah.
military, but it's completely on the money. There's a
Yep.
lot of, I was in the army, and I'm going to say, my mother was extremely pragmatic, and I inherited some of that from her. Perhaps not enough, but there is there's a streak of real hardcore pragmatism that runs through things like the military and the police and all that. which I find admirable. And I definitely took a lot of that with me.
Yeah.
That it was not a bad experience for me, even though I'm a free thinker, clearly a liberal, all that stuff. Um, it's,
Amazing.
it's,
Yet
it's good to get brain whipped
this is the
sometimes.
thing. There's value, and there's value to be found in so many different things that aren't necessarily where we are, that, we can still extrapolate useful things,
Yeah,
which is why
absolutely.
it's so important to stay open. So it's beautiful to hear you say that. I love
Yeah.
that.
I mean, I guess another central thing that I believe is that nothing is a waste of time. Nothing is a waste of time. You are always learning something.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. Yes.
there's always, even if it's, I'm never going to do that again. You've learned something,
Yes, yes,
you know?
exactly. And sometimes you
So,
do have to experience that. Oh, yeah, that I'm never going to do that again, to know it fundamentally, to make sure that you don't.
mm, but
Yes,
yeah,
excellent.
anyway, the band quickly. So there was a, like the kind of heyday, if you like, of those organ based bands was kind of the late 50s through the 60s. And Blue Note was a label where you'd find bands like that. And you had Jimmy Smith and oh, hang on, I'm still here. You had Jimmy Smith and Jimmy McGriff and Jimmy this and Jimmy that, who were just like these Hammond players who were motherfuckers. Pardon me, but that's my favorite word. Honestly, if somebody is really good, they're a motherfucker. That that's a jazz thing. That, man, that guy is a motherfucker, man. That's like the highest compliment.
I love it.
I know it's a crazy one, but there it is. You may have to bleep that, but that's the way it goes.
No, it's
But
fine.
so I wanted to do something, and I met Jan, and we've been talking for 13 years, and there he is next door, and Matt from Monkey Business was talking to kind of a pretty powerful agent in Prague. We were at a party, and Matt was DJing, and Matt said, "Oh, Ashley's got an idea for a band." He said this to David, pitched it, and then he said, "Come and talk to David, the agent." I went to David and I pitched it as well. And at that time, it was still larval, let's say, in form. Um, and what's come out of it is based on that, but it's kind of a super, you know, it as everyone says, it's one of those bands on steroids. Um, because what we don't have is a guitar. And a guitar provides certain mid-range frequencies that the organ doesn't. And we don't have a bass. He plays all the bass on his left hand on the lower register of the Hammond, and all the groovy shit on the right hand on the top register. And Jan and I were talking, and we said, what about this guy? What about that guy? It was, oh, he doesn't want to do it. He's too busy. And I just thought, you know what? Fuck it. We've got four horns here. We all make that. That's where we play, right where the guitar is. So I'm going to just write really fucking hard horn parts for everybody. And we're going to be the guitar.
No way.
Yeah. And it's worked out. And it worked out great. And the guys, oh my God. There were a couple of times on the gig where I just turned around and I was like, ooh, yeah, sexy.
Amazing.
Very sexy.
Amazing. So are you both singing and doing trombone?
Yeah, but never at the same time.
Well, yeah,
I haven't mastered that yet.
that would be something.
Yeah. People
Uh,
would pay money to see that, right?
yeah,
There's this
absolutely.
crazy Swedish woman called Gunhild Carling who plays what's called trad jazz, really like old time jazz, and she's just like the most energetic thing I've ever seen. She's fucking crazy. She plays trombone and trumpet, and she'll play two trumpets, and then like I've seen her with three trumpets, which is physical impossibility. It's just posed for a picture, but she's like a superhuman.
Yeah.
Um, she's a real inspiration. I'm not sure why I even brought her up, but I think she could probably sing and play the trombone at the same
Right.
time.
Oh, right, right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You need to, yeah. Excellent, excellent. So are you guys going to be touring throughout Europe and the UK? What's
Well, we are definitely. I mean, these two gigs were kind of like showcases, and we were being hosted by a very wealthy man who was a drummer, and then he came up with an idea for a cooking pot, and he started making these pots, and he made millions of euros from these pots.
Right.
But his thing is still music. So
Right.
he bought this old fabric, an old factory in Prague, on the edge of Prague, and he's just kitted it out. It's very interesting. There's a museum there with like wax disc recorders, and from the very beginning of
Wow.
recording audio, and not up until now. I mean, it kind of goes up until you've got some, like, because we're in Eastern Europe, you've got some kind of Soviet stuff in there, but there's no MP3 players or anything like that. And then in the other
Right.
room, he's got instruments and stuff. And he sponsors this festival called Metronome. So basically, he's made all this money, but he's spending it on music. He's not building a rocket.
Yeah.
He's not trying to de-unionize everyone. He's not trying to fuck people out of business like Jeff Bezos is. He's just he did that thing that we all wanted to do, which is make a shit ton of money and then just go back to making music. He actually did that.
Right.
And so he's been our benefactor on this. Anyway, it was super successful, and everybody who was anybody was there, and everybody's blah 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 now, I hope. And I think that we'll be getting a lot. No plans to come to the UK at the moment. I got to be honest. After the Brexit vote, I was just, I can't be here anymore.
Yeah.
I can't live in a country that is willing to slash its own throat.
Yeah.
For what? So some other people can get rich? Are you really that fucking stupid?
Yeah.
Yes, you are really that fucking stupid. Okay, bye. So I'm a refugee, I call myself.
You're right. Yeah. Yeah.
And there are a lot of refugees in Europe right now. They're
Yeah.
all
I
scooting
bet.
around, you know, under the radar. But what they took away from my kids is unforgivable. It's unforgivable.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's unforgivable. And I cannot forgive it. I
Yeah.
just can't. I don't want to be there. All my friends are there, and I've had the best times and the worst times in that country, but nah.
Well,
Mm-mm.
it's important to be in a place that feels like home. And as you
Mm.
say, we've got social media, which, the good side of social media is it can keep us connected with people that are far away.
And
Um,
but special to us, important people in our lives.
yes,
I am
yes.
friends on Facebook with people I went to kindergarten with, who
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
in the
same
army
here.
with, who I was at high
Yeah,
school,
yeah,
who I was in Loose Tubes with, who I was in Carla Bley with. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah,
Seven,
yeah.
8,000 people there. Old people who, at least 5,000, 6,000 of those, I've actually had physical
Amazing.
interaction with. That to me is great.
Yeah, yeah. It's incredible, really, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
incredible. Now, I
yeah.
know I've kept you a while here, but are you
No
still
sweat.
able to
Let's do the
stay with
thing.
us
Yeah, yeah.
for
Let's do
the
it.
meditation? All right, let's get down to
Let me
business
tell
and
you.
cult.
Let me tell you about my meditation first.
Oh, yes.
My meditation is when I get up, and Maria doesn't love this. She likes a clean kitchen at night, but I'm like, leave all the dishes, because we always cook. We don't go out, we cook. Um, and in the morning, my meditation is doing the washing up.
I love it. I love it. That's mine too, but it's in the evening.
Mm,
And it's only just recently been because I grew up in the States, obviously, and I grew up always having a dishwasher. I never had to do like actually washing dishes. So I live in a very small cottage and it's pretty old and there's just no space for dishwashers, so I don't have
mm,
one.
mm,
I've never been a fan of washing dishes. But funnily enough, I had a client that was dealing with a lot of issues of cleaning up their spouse's mess and all that, and it was really bothering them. And I was reminded of, there's a quote from Thich Nhat Hanh, who passed away a couple years ago now. He was a Thai Buddhist monk. But he said, and I've mentioned this on the podcast before, so forgive me for those of you who have already heard this, but he said, if you are doing the dishes so that you can finish and do something else, then you are not truly doing the dishes.
Yeah.
And yeah, can you turn the thing that you least want to do in your day into the most mindful thing that you do? And suddenly it's beautiful. It's like this beautiful symphony
No,
of
it's brilliant because all you're doing is making sure the dishes are clean.
yes,
That's it.
yes,
Clean the dishes.
yes,
Put the dishes in the rack. Let
yes,
the dishes dry. Make sure there's no dirt on anything. Get everything to the 100th degree of cleanliness. And I literally don't think about anything else while I'm doing that. And your hands are moving.
yes,
It's physical.
yes,
It is Zen because it's a very specific purpose, um, which is very physical.
yes,
It's
yes.
nothing. There's no. It's not a mental process. It's just a physical. All I'm doing is washing the dishes here.
Machine the
You
dish.
know,
Yeah.
I have had a dishwasher in my life, and I hated it. If I'd had a pistol, I'd have shot it in the brain. Um, but my partner wanted one, but my car, Maria doesn't want a dishwasher. I don't want a dishwasher. You know,
Excellent.
why
Excellent.
do I want a fucking machine to wash my dishes? Are you kidding? What?
Well, this is the beautiful thing about, it took a really concerted effort and a big reframe to turn, yeah, the thing that I least wanted to do into the most beautiful thing that I do with my
Mm,
day. And yeah, it's the flow state. That is the flow state that you get with your music as well. When we're
mm.
creative, everything else disappears. We're just doing that thing.
That you're doing
And
what you're doing. The end.
yes, yes.
I'm
So
very lucky in that I get to experience that state a lot.
yeah, yes.
And that probably is why I'm not an absolutely like barking mad now, because I can see what it is,
Yeah,
and I recognize it and I appreciate it. It's a gift. It's a
yes,
gift.
yes. How beautiful, how beautiful. I love it. Okay, so it is time to get down to business and
Okay.
cultivate the witness. So anybody who's listening right now, if you are driving or operating heavy machinery, make sure to pause the recording and come back to it when you can come into stillness. So everybody, please just feel free to come to a seated position and adjust your body in any way that it needs. And whenever you're ready, feel free to gently close your eyes.
Okay.
That's right. And you can feel the weight of your body sinking into the earth, grounding you and connecting you to the present moment. And as you continue to breathe deeply, bring your awareness to the different sensations in your body right now. You can notice any areas of tension or discomfort, and with each breath, imagine them melting away, leaving you feeling light and at ease. Good, that's right. Now, just imagine, only imagine now, roots growing from the soles of your feet, extending deep into the earth below. Feel these roots anchoring you to the ground. grounding you in the here and now. And with every breath in, draw up the nourishing energy of the earth, filling your body with warmth and vitality. And with every exhale, releasing any stress or tension, allowing all of that to be absorbed into the earth. And as you continue to breathe in this way, can you visualize a golden light surrounding your body, forming a protective shield, shielding you from negativity and harm? Feel this light infusing every cell of your being, filling you with a sense of peace, acceptance, and awareness. Bringing your awareness to your heart center, the seat of your true essence. Imagine a radiant ball of light glowing within your heart, pulsating with love and compassion. With each breath, allow this light to expand, radiating outwards and enveloping your entire body in its warm embrace. Feel it connecting you to the infinite love of the universe, reminding you of your inherent worthiness and belonging. Just take a moment to simmer in this glow of this divine light, knowing that you are held and supported by the universe in every moment. And just notice and feel your whole body resting deeply, relaxing, effortless. Notice your natural breath already happening, breath. Nothing to do or change. Just notice this constant companion, this ebb and flow of your breath. Can you bring your awareness now to the soles of your feet? Resting your attention here at the soles of your feet, and notice your natural breath here, without changing the breath, just sensing. As you breathe, could you imagine breathing in through 2 points in the center of the soles of your feet, breathing up through your body, all the way up to the crown of the head, and on the exhale, exhaling out of the crown of your head and back all the way down your body to the soles of your feet. Recycling, inhaling it in once more through the soles of your feet, up the body, out the crown of your head, exhaling down and down to the soles of your feet. On the inhale, imagine energy and breath moving gently up the body. And on the exhale, a current of energy flowing downward like a waterfall. That's right. And Going ahead and just resting now. Resting back into that state of deep rest that you've cultivated here. Allowing your mind to be spacious, like a vast blue sky. Remember, dear friends, you are both the dreamer and the dream. You are both the creator and the created. And the path is the destination. As we start to bring awareness back to our body, can you take a moment to express gratitude for the opportunity to explore the depths of your own consciousness? And know that you can return to this ocean of awareness at any time, finding refuge and solace in the ever-present stillness of your own being. Namaste. And whenever you're ready, feel free to gently open your eyes, rather. And come back into the room. Ashley Slater, what a legend. I cannot thank you enough for coming on here and sharing your experiences. I'd love to have you on again another time. I mean, we've only just scratched the surface of what your life has been about and where you're going and where you are now. So I will make sure to have links to all of your various socials and
Please
everything.
do. Yeah, always tag me in anything when it goes up and stuff.
Absolutely.
I like that the path is the destination. That's it.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
You know, people. I mean, for me, I'm just what you've described is what I say to people when they say, "Well, so when are you going to retire?" It's like, what do you mean retire? I can't retire. This is just you just keep going until you're not going anymore.
Yes,
The end.
Exactly. You've been such an inspiration, and I know you will have likely inspired a lot of people today. Thank you.
I hope so. That would be a
so
nice
much.
thing. That would be a lovely thing.
Yes, absolutely.
Good.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you very much, and have a lovely rest of your day.
You too, and happy Zombie Jesus weekend.
Happy, oh yeah. Oh, yes.
If I could sing or play an instrument for you, I would sing and play an instrument for you. If I could dance for you, I would dance for you. If I could paint for you, I would paint for you. But my thing is words. But the problem about words is that you may listen to them.
And that would be a mistake.